Welcome to Confessions of a Stenographer, where we are focusing on all things steno and the state of our profession. Thanks for tuning in. I am your host, Shanice Day, founder of Steno in a City and founder of this podcast. Can you believe that 2020 is just about over? We are in the final quarter, and I am wishing you all nothing but the best. Keep declaring and believing that our best days are right in front of us. We are going to jump right into episode 9 with our next guest. I met this Steno lover at Steno in the City in DC last year. I haven't did any podcast episodes on anything pertaining to Steno in the City, but I will eventually. I still smile. I'm smiling as I say this because Steno in the City is my baby. Still can't believe, I was able to pull it off with, assistance from some of you guys out there in the profession. We will have a Steno in the City 2. Wait for it. We'll see what, where we are sometime next year with, COVID and so forth, but it will be a Steno in the City 2 eventually. Our next Steno guest is Denee and her fiance, Mike Pinero. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our Steno couple. Hey, Denee, welcome to Confessions of a Stenographer. Are you ready to confess?
Hey, girl. Yes, I'm ready to confess.
Okay, do your thing.
Thank you. First, I wanted to say thank you so much for having me on here. Honestly, just meeting you, you're so amazing, inspirational to this field. And all of us as stenographers and court reporters are super blessed to have you in our field, to be promoting us in this field the way you are. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I'm so happy that we met and became friends. So for me, I actually, I didn't even know what Steno was. I was actually introduced to Steno by my boyfriend, which he's now my fiance. And I was actually going to school at first for speech pathology. And then I was going to major in in linguistics. And then I was going to get my master's in speech pathology, but it was going to take forever. And I was okay with that at first, but then Mike, his cousin is a court reporter and actually was like, hey, why don't you just try this out? So I was like, all right, cool. He's a videographer. His cousin's a court reporter. So I was like, I have nothing to lose. Why not? So I went to orientation and I legit just fell in love with the machine. And I literally, transferred the end of the semester. As soon as my semester was over, I was in my sophomore year at Montclair State University. I transferred. I started Steno school in Fairfield, New Jersey at Steno Tech, but it's now closed down, which is super sad. And honestly, that's why it's so important that you're doing this too, Shanice, because so many schools are closing down and it's just insane that, we need these schools to be open. And the president of the school actually said to me after we put out that video with the Don't Rush Challenge, the president of my school saw that video and she was like, you know what, if we had people like you guys promoting our field back then, her school wouldn't have shut down. And that totally broke my heart. And I'm like, this is something we totally have to keep doing. Little things like this will really bring our profession a really long way. But anyway, I'm going to just keep on ranting. Back to I went to school, I started school and I fell in love with it. And then actually a few months into theory, I got pregnant and I had Julian 9 months later. And I think I was in the 100 words per minute level in school. And I had to take my maternity leave. So I took off for 6 months, stayed with Julian home. And most people who have Steno babies usually wind up not coming back, but I came back and I finished strong. It took me 3 years to finish school. and I graduated in 2012. And I believe Mike should be coming here soon. He's actually on the record right now. He's a videographer. So he was supposed to be joining me today. And he still might come in and jump in because he should be done soon. But oh yes, I already spoke about my school. Sorry. So in school, I actually didn't have too many challenges. Like I got, stuck at the 175 words per minute level. But other than that, I had a newborn baby and I was raising a child, and I was actually working full-time at Walmart. I was actually working overnight, and I was working from 10:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then I would go to school from 8 something to like 2 something or whatever. And then I would go pick the baby up from daycare, and then I would go home. So, I know every court reporter, their advice is always practice, practice, practice in school. But I can't say that because I was not the one to practice. I was working, going to school, and taking care of the baby. There was no time to practice for me. So it was like do or die in school. I was going ham in school. And then I would like have to like just ace my test. And it's crazy because there were days where I was so exhausted from being up all night with the baby, because he actually had acid reflux when he was little. So acid reflux is kind of when the baby like throws up in his sleep. So like when you're a baby and you're throwing up in your sleep, you don't really just move around. You can actually, the baby can die in his sleep if he stays on his back and he threw up. So I would be up all the time, literally like watching him and making sure he's breathing. And it was just crazy. But there was times where I was so tired in the morning and sometimes that first period you would have a test. And, it'd be like that 225 or not the 225 at that time. It would be the, like the lit or something, or like the two voice. That's what I meant to say, the two voice. And I would be like, oh my God. And I woke up late and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get to school to get this test? I still got to bring the baby to daycare. I'm never going to make it. And then I would call my mom, like, Mom, can you please help? So she would drive to my house, get the baby ready for me, and I would shoot to school, get there. And it's crazy because I feel like under that kind of pressure and under those circumstances, I almost perform better. It was like, like my mom just went through all this to go and get him. Like I have to pass this test. And then boom, I would go and I would, most of the time I would like pass the test. And, thank God for my mom. Huge shout out to my mom because she's a huge support system in my life. So Steno in the city, that's where I met a bunch of reporters. And honestly, it was an amazing experience. And it's crazy because I was kind of like invited last minute by my mentor and Charisse. And she's the one who actually helped me so much, and she got me into being an official and everything. So we'll talk about her later. But she invited me kind of last minute because I wasn't like, I didn't have many friends yet in the Steno community like that. So she invited me and I was like, all right. And I roomed with her and I went down there and it was so much fun. The networking and the community of like the stenographers is just so amazing. And when I got there, everybody was just so nice and like no cattiness or anything. And it just seemed like everybody just, we all have the same mission and the same goal. And we all understand each other so much. And Steno in the city was put together so well. It was so much fun, Shanice. And I was just so happy to be there. Especially dancing all night long. That was so fun. And it was great because like just connecting with everybody and, going to the museum and riding bikes, in dresses, by the way. I think it was just me and Shanice who had a dress on, our crazy selves. I'm not 100% sure. My memory is horrible. Not to mention I've been working all day, so my brain is fried. So don't mind me if I'm repeating myself over and over again. Oh, so the photo shoots and that was amazing. I feel like that was like, how can I put this? It was like monumental, like historic for us to do that. And the fact that you came up with that, Shanice, like it was so brilliant. And it's just something I look back on when I look at the pictures. I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm so happy, blessed, honored to be a part of this field with these amazing women, because honestly it's mainly women. There's a few men, and they're killing it, by the way. The men, like, more men should come into this field because they would like totally kill it. But it's a female dominated field. And just those pictures, like, in my opinion, it was so powerful. Like it was just a powerful picture, a powerful moment. And I was just so happy to be a part of that. And and honestly, like, all of us together, it's like a sisterhood. Like now I hit up Shanice and the girls I met, like Kirsty, and like my mentor and other people, like we just have a connection. And especially like the young professionals, we have such a connection. And we wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for Steno. So it's pretty cool.
Hey, Mike, welcome to Confessions, and thank you so much for joining in. I hope you had a great day. I know you stayed late on the record. Are you ready to confess?
Absolutely.
Do your thing.
Awesome. So now that my fiance is here, we actually met at Ramapo College, and we both played basketball. So, the whole love and basketball thing. And but like we met there, but we didn't actually like get into a relationship there. We were actually in relationships with other people at the time. And then after that, a few years later, he hit me up on MySpace and he was like, "Hey girl, I want to take you out."
Definitely not like that.
I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was trying to kick it to me on MySpace, and we reconnected, and he picked me up. We went on our first date, and he fell so deeply in love with me. And, that's how it all happened. But he's actually the one who, like I said earlier, his cousin's a court reporter. And when I met him, he was already a videographer. But when I met him, he actually was not certified yet. We actually, a few months into our relationship, we took our first road trip to Virginia, right?
Yes, to Virginia. The NCRA headquarters.
Yes, to the NCRA headquarters. And we stayed in a hotel, our first road trip. And he actually went to get certified as a videographer. And yeah, so how'd you become a videographer, babe?
Well, when I first finished college, I actually was going to try to become a teacher. And the school that I was going to work at, because I was also planning on coaching basketball, was having a hiring freeze. So at the time, I didn't necessarily want to be a substitute teacher again to start the year. So my cousin, who is a court reporter, recommended me to this company, TSG Reporting, and I worked there probably for about 4 months. And after 4 months, they introduced me into the possibility of being a videographer, because I already started working in the production side of the videos. So once I was doing that, that's when I got started doing videography.
Awesome.
A CLVS is a certified legal video specialist. And pretty much what that means is when you go through the process of the NCRA, where it is beneficial to join the NCRA because you get listed on their site, and that way you can be found by anybody who's looking for your services a lot easier than if you weren't starting from scratch. It's also pretty informational as far as the new technologies that are out that can possibly make your job as a CLVS a lot easier. And those are pretty much the benefits of joining the NCRA, because they have seminars. There's courses that you can take that can teach you about the upcoming technology that can pretty much help guide you and lead you to be at the top of the list.
And now it's time for your Steno news that you can use.
Steno news that you can use. In today's Steno news that you can use, I want to remind you all to go ahead and renew your state and national association membership. Now is the time to get active and involved. There are so many benefits to being a member of your associations, and to name a few, your network can determine your network. The connections that you have can open up so many opportunities. The possibilities are endless. The source guide. Oh my God, you guys, the source book is so amazing. I have used this in the past to make connections. It is worth it. And as you heard Mike mention earlier, being a member of NCRA, this is where, you would have your information in the source book and people can connect with you and find you for work. So that's a huge benefit to being a member of NCRA. You can also stay educated. I can tell you that I love receiving my JCR in the mail. There is nothing like unplugging with a great magazine in my hand to catch up on all the things that are going on in the profession. So yes, those are just some of the benefits to, being a member. And also, you get to save money from the NCRA store to the online skills test, Mercer Insurance, conventions. There are a lot of benefits that you will reap when you are a member. And I will take it a step further. It's giving season. I double dare you to go find one non-member and encourage them to join. Together we are strong. We are one team, one goal, Steno. So that phrase, I promise you guys, 10 years from now, when it's time for me to run for president of NCRA, that will be a slogan. You guys may have seen it around, but I've been saying it for some time, but just those words. We are together when we are strong. We are one team with one goal, Steno. And that's your Steno news that you can use.
So I'll talk a little bit now about my first job out of court reporting school. It's really rare to actually do real time right out of school. And that was my first job. I was a cart provider. I worked at Rutgers and I provided cart for an accounting student. And it was really hard, but I was so desperate for something because I actually didn't get a job right out of school because I actually didn't have enough money to pay for my machine, my software, my laptop, all of that startup equipment that you need as a court reporter. So and at the time, Mike, he was actually, while I was in school, he was holding down everything, the rent, the bills, the daycare, all those things. So it was impossible for us to actually save for such expensive equipment. So I actually, out of school, I worked at LA Fitness for a little while. And I worked for like 9 months at LA Fitness. And then my mom and Mike actually got together and they saved money and helped me buy all the equipment I needed. The Steno machine, the software, and the Steno machine is like $5,000. The software is like $4,000. My laptop. When I tell you it was a blessing, like I have the most amazing people and support system in my life. So it's crazy because at that point in time, it was like in August and we were actually about to move. So we lived in Union City at the time and we were about to move to Perth Amboy, New Jersey. And just so happens a girl, another court reporter emailed me and she's like, hey, are you looking for any work? And I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, I still haven't, I didn't have a job yet out of school because I didn't have the money for the machine or whatever. And I finally got the machine. I finally got the software. And she's like, oh my God, well, there's an opening at Rutgers for, like a 12-hour schedule or something like that. I would work 12 hours a week. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And this is in Rutgers, New Brunswick. And at the time I'm living in Union City. So I'm like, this is God. Like, this is literally God working in our lives. So I called it the cart. What was it at the time? It was Karash and Associates, and they do legal and cart and they do captioning. And so I called them. I set up the interview and everything, and I had to take a real-time test, and I got accepted. I passed the test, and I got the job, and I moved over there. It was like, when I tell you everything was just falling into place after so many years of just like craziness, it was, it was definitely God working in our lives. So that was my first job out of school, was a cart. I did that for a few years. I think it was about 4 years. 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, about 4 years. And then I actually, so as much as I love cart, it's my first love, it wasn't as stable as I would like. So I would get, a bunch of hours for the, like while school was in session for the semester. And then they would have like winter break, and they would have all these breaks. And then I would go without money and then, and work. And then I would exhaust all of my savings, which wasn't great for our family. And then summer would come, and I would pray that I would get work during the summer. And I was good for the first few years. And then one summer, bam, nothing, no work. And I only worked for one agency. So I got no work, and I exhausted all of my savings. And that summer, I'm like, you know what? I'm not sitting on my butt, and I'm not going to just be like, oh, well, now what? So I actually enrolled in Anissa Nisenberger. I'm not sure how to say her last name, but she is an amazing captioner. She is like the captioner of captioners. And she held an online class called Caption Masters program. And I enrolled. I used the last of my savings to enroll in her program, because I'm like, there's no way that I'm just going to sit here and just put all my eggs in one basket anymore. I need to expand, because I'm way too talented to just, not be working all summer. Like, we worked so hard to get to where we were, to just fall back down again and hit rock bottom. So I took her program. And of course, a bunch of problems happened in that program, a bunch of things, family matters or whatever, but I got through it. And after that, she actually, at the end of that program, she makes you write down a goal date of when you want to become a captioner. So I wrote down that goal date, and I actually hit that goal of becoming a captioner, I believe, a year after that program ended, after I finished it. So after that, I actually went and I applied for VITAC. And for VITAC, that's a major captioning, I guess you want to, a major captioning company. Yeah. I think they have like 200,000 television networks or something that they provide captions for. It's a lot. There's like 150 plus captioners that work for the company. But yeah, so what I really wanted to do, my dream wasn't always to become a captioner. My dream was always to become an official in the courts. So I actually took my official test in, I think 2016. I believe it was 2015, 2016. My dates are really messed up. I'm so sorry. But these dates always mess me up. But so what happened was I was studying both at the same time that year to become an official, but I also wanted to see if I can become a captioner, because my whole goal was stability. I wanted to get a full-time job, full-time employment as a court reporter. So I took the real-time test for VITAC. I passed that. And, they right away, they wanted me. They were like, this, and that, whatever. I'm not allowed. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually talk about all that stuff. So, they wanted me or whatever, fine. And I actually took the official test for New York also, but that takes months to come back. So I wasn't sure when I was going to get those results back. So I actually just took the job with captioning. I flew out there. Not interned, what's it called? Trained with them for a week on site in Canonsburg. And when I came back, I actually found out that I passed the test for New York to be an official. But I already signed up with Vitac, so I couldn't go anywhere, which is really crazy. You can imagine how heartbroken I kind of was that I couldn't become an official right away. But I met my goal as a captioner. I became a captioner and I stayed with the company for a year. And honestly, I'm so happy I did it because my writing just was like amazing. And, I was captioning for CNN, MSNBC, QVC, a network in Japan called NHK Newsline, which was super hard. I was doing golf tournaments, basketball, soccer, baseball. It was just an amazing experience. But I was waking up at like 3:30 in the morning and captioning at like 4 a.m. And it just wasn't my thing. So, I tried the cart. I loved the cart, but, it just wasn't as stable. I went to captioning. I liked the captioning. I really did. But I just wasn't a fan of the hours that I had to work. And I had to do minimums per day and for the weekend. And it just, just wasn't my favorite. So then I went for the interview to be an official a year later. And I was hired right on the spot for court. And literally, I stopped working. I stopped at the captioning company September 5th, and I started as an official September 6th. It was God again, because this is what I really, really wanted to do. I really wanted to be an official. I wanted to be in the court. I wanted to have stability. I wanted to have paid vacation, health insurance, a 401k, all that stuff, all that good stuff. So I really, really wanted stability for my family. And my son, he makes everything, honestly, like he's such an amazing kid that I'm able to do so many things. Like he demands a lot of attention, more so when he was younger. Now he's like all about video games and his friends, but he's so amazing that thank God I was able to actually to get my work done and to do my work. And between Mike always helping out, like, cause he's an amazing father. It wasn't really hard to balance being a mom and being a stenographer. For court, we actually have night court. And for night court, oh my gosh, it's a little crazy because we start at 5 p.m. and now it's virtual. So we log in at 5 p.m. We relieve the day reporter and then we get on. And the reason why there's night court is because you have to get arraigned in New York within 24 hours of being arrested. So, if somebody gets arrested at 5 o'clock, or like, yeah, within 24 hours, if the day reporter and the day judge, if they don't get through the whole calendar, we have to go in and we have to make sure we do the rest. There can be like 100 cases at night, sometimes, depending on how many arrests there are. And sometimes we can be done as early as like 12 or as late as like 3:30 a.m. I think one reporter stayed till like 4 a.m. one time, which was crazy. And this pandemic has been a blessing, and I'm not ashamed to say it because like I have been through it all. Like, and me and Mike together, we've hit rock bottom together. And this pandemic, you would think that, we would hit rock bottom, but we already did. We had our struggle. And like I said last time, I remember, Shanice, I told you this, we had our losing season and right now is our winning season. Thank God, because so many things have been happening. Just from that Don't Rush challenge that Shanice actually came up with, where we did the video with the stenographers and everything. It was amazing. I got a few people who hit me up and they were like, we're looking for a captioner, and they were like, specifically, we're looking for, a Black captioner. And, because they were talking about in their events, a lot of things that have to do with people of color and racial injustice and systemic oppression. And they really wanted a person of color as a captioner. And it's hard to, they're hard to find. We're hard to find. So just from that video alone, I've gotten so many recommendations, and just like literally I would get a job and then that person would just recommend me to the next person, and that person recommended me to the next person. And honestly, it's just been truly a blessing. And even for Mike, he's been doing amazing as a videographer also, because they're still doing video depositions and everything. So in our fields, it is really, really tough to just get off the record and just go about your day, especially in court, because you hear so many things. Like there's, for me, I hear, in front of me, I have murderers, I have pedophiles, I have a lot of domestic violence reports and people and accusations and everything, because every person who comes in, they're innocent until proven guilty, 100%. But it's just hearing all of the accusations and hearing all of the stories, it just kind of sticks with you. So it's like when you're on the record and then when you get off the record, it's kind of like it kind of just like sticks to you. And for me, as a Pisces, things really stick to me. I wear other people's emotions and problems. So it's just super hard sometimes. But for me, what I find to really help is meditation and working out and eating healthy. So for me and Mike together in this industry, it's pretty cool because at first we didn't have an office space together. So it was a little crazy. And we actually always dreamt of being, I know most couples probably just want to be like away from each other. It's, that's like normal. But for us, we always dreamt of having like our office space and me doing my court reporting stuff. Well, we always dreamt of like, or envisioned like me doing transcripts and him like, just like editing videos or whatever. And it just so happens that because of the pandemic, now I'm on the record. I'm on the record and he's like in there too, doing stuff like for a video. So if he's like talking or something and I'm on the record, I have to be like, we have to like give each other hand signals. And then sometimes he forgets, because I never forget because I'm amazing. But he'll forget and he'll like start talking and I'm like, wait, you gotta stop. I gotta mute. And it's so funny because, but the thing is it's funny. And like, we work it out. We try to work with each other. And I think it's pretty amazing too, because we just bought a house in December. We closed on the house. And this is all thanks to being, that whole stability thing with being in the captioning company, right into being an official, because we were able to close on our first home together, which was so amazing, and get our office space. And it was right before the pandemic hit, which was a blessing. And he actually told me, he was like, thank God you really pushed. Cause I like when I get something into my mind, I'm like, this is what I want. And I know we can do it. So I'm gonna just keep pushing. And he was like, thank God you did this. And you kept pushing right before the pandemic hit, because we were in a little apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment with our kids. And being smushed in that little apartment, doing all of this, oh my goodness, like, I don't know.
It wouldn't have worked.
No, it wouldn't. Like, we would probably like be like going at it. So we make it work very, very well because we're super understanding with each other. And we understand each other because we're in the same field. So like, I understand when he's on the record, like we have to be quiet. And Julian, oh my God, he's in the other room screaming on his Fortnite game and we're like banging on the wall for him to be quiet. But then we tell him like, Julian, stop. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And, we all just really understand each other. The best advice for other couples we could probably give, for me, what I would give is just to be understanding. Just to understanding and what is it called?
I would think you need also just be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Just be at a position where you understand that everything that's going on, because in this field things can go unplanned, especially in covering a deposition. It can say I'm going to be done at 3 p.m. and at 8 p.m. I'm still on the record. So just being flexible and being able to understand that things can go left at any moment, and you just have to make an adjustment to go with the flow, because eventually that's all you can do. You can just go with the flow and get the work done, because if not, you'll just be upset, and you still got to be on the record anyway. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And honestly, that's exactly what we had to do for this podcast. We thought it was just going to be me and you. We were going to start out, but we had to adjust because you were still going and I was done, thank God. And Shanice was like, oh my God, okay, so we'll just do it like this. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then you came in and it all worked out. And that's just how this profession is. So he proposed to me December 31st, 2019. And it was a total surprise because we just bought the house. We closed on the house December 18th and he proposed on December 31st. I thought we were broke. I don't know where he got this money from for the ring. I thought we were broke. So it was a total surprise for me. But all of that to say, we're actually getting married November 2012.
November 13th, 2021.
Yes, we're going to get married. And Shanice, I hope you checked your email because I sent you an invite literally today. The invites went out. So I'm really, really excited about that the invites are out, because that was like super stressful trying to get that together.
Sure was.
Whatever you did. He doesn't do anything with like this kind of stuff. This is all me. And Julian, he I spoke about him a little before, but he is pretty hilarious. Like, we're both on the record. He'll come into the room and he has his own little signals. He'll like rub his stomach when he's hungry. He'll be like, he'll give us kisses, and he'll just like try to lip sync, like try to talk to us without actually talking, just moving his mouth. And I'm like, I can't watch you talk and be on the record at the same time. So it's a struggle, but we get through it. And honestly, for him, whether he wants to do something like what we're doing, honestly, I am a huge fan of a trade. So you want to go to college, cool, fine. But I'm also a huge fan of, becoming skilled in a certain trade. Because, when you have that craft, like nobody can take that away from you. That's something that's specific to you. And it's a need to have, it's like,
it just pretty much it allows you to function in situations like a pandemic. I mean, there's a lot of people with degrees who can't do anything with that degree at the moment because they don't have a skill, whether it be masonry or electrician or all those things. Those people are still working right now, but there's some people, unfortunately, who have masters and whatever, and they're looking for something, anything, just to make ends meet at this point. So when you have those trades, those jobs are really important because those jobs are always going to be there.
That is so true. And also coming out of, like, for instance, courtboarding school, you're not going to be in crazy amount of debt, like as if you were coming and graduating from a university or something like that. Is there a videographer school?
NCRA.
Oh,
that's about it.
Yeah. So like, even so for something like that, it's not like you have to invest a little bit of money into getting your equipment and everything, but it's just not as crazy as like going to university, being in so much debt, and you get so much back from this. You can literally pay back school the first year working in our field. Yeah. So let me just give some words of encouragement and motivation to anybody who is looking to become a stenographer. It's an amazing field. And honestly, like, Steno has done so much for me and for my family. I always dreamt of owning a home, and like now we're homeowners. Like everything is just falling into place, all because of our careers. And our love for each other, of course, and our support. Encouraging word for the students out there. I wouldn't say practice, because like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of practicing, although I know a lot of reporters, say practicing is key. But for me, I feel like never giving up and just keep going, even if you don't graduate. Like, even if you keep failing, it's okay. Like, you don't have to graduate in order to, make something out of yourself in this field. You can actually complete school and still do amazing things in this field. There are some states you don't have to be certified, and you can make an amazing living, in one of those states where you don't have to be certified. It's not the end all be all. The whole point is just to thrive in your career and truly love what you do.
Awesome. Denee and Mike, I want to thank you guys so much. You guys did such a great job, and I'm definitely going to have you guys back on some other topics. Denee, when you said the winning season, I love that phrase,
Yes.
that you created, your winning season. So you guys also would, she did mention the Don't Rush Challenge, but I also have to give a huge thank you to Denee, because when I came with her with the idea and the brainstorming, she, assisted with this. The whole technical piece, that's not my thing. Denee, she made it work. So we, work great together. She's also an admin for Steno in the city. And I love you. Mike, I hope you guys will attend, depending on where we are with COVID, and I hope we all can make Vegas. I hope to meet you. I appreciate you for doing this. I'll be, contacting Denee to talk about, can Mike, do you think he wants to help with the next Steno in the city for videographer?
Yes, he will.
Okay, well, I love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and have a great evening, and I will be in touch with you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone that took the time to check out this podcast. You are appreciated. This podcast was designed just for you and to add value to our profession. Until then, stay motivated and encouraged. Peace and blessings.